Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into something that's keeping a lot of operations managers up at night. How exactly do you build a robust, profitable, and completely compliant e-waste collection network? As global regulations get tighter and tighter, figuring out how to bring products back from the consumer is quickly becoming just as critical as getting them out there in the first place. Let's kick things off with a staggering reality check to really set the stakes here, and we're going to use Nepal as our prime case study. According to the UN Global E-Waste Monitor, Nepal generated an estimated 42,000 tons of e-waste in 2023 alone. That's a massive number, right? But here's the stat that should really make you sit up and pay attention. That volume is growing at an annual rate of 18%. And alarmingly, more than 95% of this waste is currently being handled by informal, completely unregulated sectors using unsafe methods. So we're not just looking at a localized issue here. This represents a massive, global logistical gap. Okay, so here's our game plan for navigating these looming global regulations. We're going to cover the 2026 challenge, dive into Reverse Logistics 101, look at a real-world blueprint from Doko Recyclers, break down collection models, discuss AI's role in the supply chain, and finally wrap up with local capacity building. All right, let's jump right into Section 1, the 2026 challenge, forward versus reverse. Think about it. Getting a product to a customer is for the most part a highly optimized, well-oiled machine. But getting it back, that is a completely different beast. Forward logistics delivers a pristine product right to your door. Reverse logistics, on the other hand, has to reclaim it from the incredibly messy, variable-heavy reality of end-of-life consumption. And here's the kicker. By 2026, mastering this messy reverse flow won't just be some nice-to-have PR initiative, it is going to be a strict, unavoidable legal mandate across multiple global markets. Which brings us to Section 2, Reverse Logistics 101, Understanding EPR. Before we even start talking about physical warehouses and fleets of trucks, we really need to understand the regulatory engine that's driving this whole shift. It's called Extended Producer Responsibility, or EPR. Essentially, this policy completely flips the script. It shifts the financial and physical responsibility for a product's end-of-life disposal away from local governments and places it squarely back onto the producers. By internalizing the cost of recycling right into the product's market price, EPR demands absolute, total life cycle accountability from the manufacturer. So what does this actually look like in the real world? Well, it translates into some seriously heavy financial and data tracking burdens. By 2026, impacted businesses are going to have to register with regulators, report incredibly accurate placed-on-market data, and literally pay fees directly linked to the collection, sorting, and recycling of their goods. It's a real game changer because it fundamentally alters the basic economics of production. Moving on to Section 3, Doko Recyclers Blueprint Operational Realities. Okay, so how do we actually pull this off on the ground? Well, let's look at Doko Recyclers. They're a pioneering enterprise in Nepal, and they rely on 3 highly structured steps to build a continuous, reliable flow of materials. First up, a formal request for pickup. Second, they use specialized vehicles for safe transport and highly precise weighing. And third, careful offloading at a designated material recovery facility. It's all about bringing that strict, standard logistics rigor directly into waste collection. And when you see this in action, it's pretty impressive. Trained technicians aren't out there just tossing junk into the back of a truck, not at all. They are accurately weighing the e-waste right there at the client's location, calculating its salvage value on the spot, and creating a formal, documented entry system at the exact point of collection. It's incredibly systematic. Just take a close look at the level of detail on their purchase receipt here. It assigns a unique ID and breaks the waste down into highly specific, granular categories. We're talking mixed plastic casings, specific types of batteries, the whole shebang. It even tracks whether the transaction was in exchange for cash, credit, or just a pure donation. Make no mistake, this exact granular level of data capture is exactly what EPR compliance is going to require from you. And even how you load the truck absolutely matters. Standard operating procedures here dictate that high-value items, things like laptops or servers, require careful packing in separate cartons and strict securement in the vehicle. Why? Well, it prevents breakage, avoids hazardous spills, and ultimately it protects the pure revenue value of those extracted components while they're bouncing down the road. All right, let's zoom out a bit for Section 4, E-Waste Collection Models. Looking at the overall network strategy, operations managers really need to weigh 3 distinct collection models. First, you've got producer-run take-back programs, which turn retail locations into collection hubs. super efficient. Then municipal points, which leverage existing city infrastructure, very convenient for everyday households. And finally, third-party producer responsibility organizations, or PROs. These are independent entities that manage the entire flow for multiple brands at once. To be honest, a truly successful strategy is likely going to blend all three of these to absolutely maximize efficiency. Now, let's talk tech in Section 5, AI in the supply chain. Think about tracking all this granular data across thousands of daily pickups. Manual spreadsheets? Yeah, they become instantly obsolete. Imagine instead instructing an AI to just create a dashboard that monitors our packaging waste versus EPR quotas in France and Germany, pulling data from warehouse returns and recycling certificates. By doing this, supply chain leaders can totally automate their data ingestion and navigate incredibly complex, multinational EPR requirements in real time. It's literally a superpower for compliance. But to actually make that magic happen, you need the right technical stack. We're looking at things like Python and Streamlit for building those interactive dashboards, OpenAI GPT agents to instantly auto-summarize any data variances, and of course, live API connections linking right into your enterprise ERP systems and waste handlers. Implementing a stack like this, it allows you to track recycling rates down to the individual SKU level. You can spot an underperforming product or an operational bottleneck instantly. Finally, Section 6, local capacity building, the long-term fix. So, looking at all these massive logistical hurdles, you might naturally be wondering, hey, why can't we just pack up all this complicated e-waste and ship it off to a country with cheaper processing facilities? Well, the answer is incredibly simple. You can't. The Basel ban, under the Basel Convention, strictly controls the transboundary movement of hazardous e-waste. It outright prohibits exporting it from developed to developing nations. Exporting this problem is highly illegal. That means building local capacity and optimizing your domestic logistics network isn't just best practice anymore. It is the law. As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a critical question to chew on for your own supply chain strategy. How will you build a robust, localized, and profitable reverse logistics network to meet the strict demands of the 2026 circular supply chain? The regulations are absolutely coming, the technology is already here, and as we've just seen for models like Doko Recyclers, the operational blueprint definitely exists. So the next move? That's entirely up to you.